Hi, welcome back to another episode of Forever True TV. I am your host, Angelique, and tonight we have a couple of new people that's online tonight. We got Tawana in the house. How you doing tonight, Miss Tawana?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Can you tell me what tonight our topic tonight is pretty much about some of the comments that are being made under the video for the one that we did for Forever True TV did about if Kanika was alive in a freezer. And we are getting a lot of feedback on it, whether it's backlash or not. But we're getting a lot of feedback on there, and I just want to know, what is your actual feelings about that?
I'm just confused like everybody else. I don't even want to make a statement not knowing, or even a comment not knowing the actual truth. So.
So when you say you don't want to make a statement, what about your opinion? You need to be able to show your opinion. Do you have an opinion? I mean, everybody.
I'm a little confused because sometimes I think maybe she did walk in there, but then with all the videos and everything else, it makes it hard for me to think that. So that's why I'm just a little confused. So I don't want to say because I don't know. I'm still trying to find out like everybody else.
Okay. Nakia, do you have something that that you would like to say about that? Nakia, are you online? Okay, so I guess we got people that are pretty much they're here, but at this particular time, they're unable to speak. So maybe we can get them to come in and tell us how they feel. Are you here? Okay, Sade, are you here today? Sade. Okay, well, I guess we got everybody just out today.
I'm here.
And who's here?
Jessica.
Okay, Jessica, but everybody is they're pretty much I'm not hearing or seeing anybody. So I'm assuming that everybody is pretty much busy. So what I need to do is I need to go ahead and send them on out because I can't have them in if they're not, not able to communicate at this particular time. It's getting a little, we're trying to get these together and we feel like we can't get it together. But that's all right. That's all right. With the help of the Lord, we will be able to get them together. So we're just gonna, pray that God has a blessing on us and all of our family and friends that are watching today. But we really want to know some things about the case. A lot of us are going through a lot with the case. We have these ups and these downs, and for me, like I said before, I feel like it's a it was so much going on that I just was like, okay, well, what's really going on here? We need to figure out what's going on. So the main concern is trying to come together and come to terms with something that is pretty much something that we could do. So, hey, Sabrina, this is Angelique. Sorry, I am still new. This is our second time coming out doing this here, which I am so grateful that we are doing. And I am putting together a nice little package for us so we can kind of go over stuff when we do this here. I hear a lot of noise in the background, like bumping or something, and it's very disturbing at times. So we just encourage those that are out there and they are working on this here. It'd be a reason for us to just stay focused and tuned in on what we're doing. So today we're going to try to get our peoples back in here, because it seemed like we lost them for just a few seconds. I think it has something to do with me, but for some reason we lost them. So I am having some technical difficulties, and I am trying to get y'all all back in here right now. So Tawana, you in here today. Tell me, how is things at home? How are you handling this case? Have you still been looking into it, or what? Hello? Hello? Jessica? Tawana?
I'm here.
Tawana, are you here? Okay. So I'm not exactly sure what's really going on with our technical difficulties tonight. Please forgive us for actually having the interruptions, but I'm going to go ahead and move on to what I need to move on to, and that is that we're going to talk about the comments. So today we are talking about some of the comments that were put down. One of them is Lulu O'Head. It says, some of that brown stuff looks like poop to me. Well, I think that's a total disrespect, but no, it's not. I am trying to get everybody on. And I don't know what happened, but when you hear something like that, you say to yourself, why is people even bothering to comment on stuff like that? You can keep that kind of comment to yourself. The dirt, do you believe that it was dirt on the photos? Did anybody look at the photos?
I did.
Do you believe that it was actual dirt on those photos?
No.
Okay. So what do you think that was really on the photo then?
Well, I was looking at another YouTuber, and they had looked through some of the files, the images that Rosemont put up, and over there, right where the door is at, where they found her, he had circled I guess it was like the pipes or something that go towards, I guess, I'm trying to explain it the right way, but it was like pipes, like on the side, like on the upper wall. And that same stuff that was on her fingernail on the floor was all on the pipes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so he just concluded like it was some type of, well, he didn't really know what it was. The discussion was like maybe it was some type, I'm not familiar with a lot of concrete and stuff like that, but maybe like some kind of glue or something. I don't know, because it was all on the pipes, like it was like rolled around it. And so during that time, people were thinking like, well, what did they do to this? Did they hang her up there or something? But that same stuff, because he cropped the image of the pipes and the stuff on there, and he put it right next to the stuff that was on her jeans and on her fingernail, and it was 100% identical. So that's why I say it couldn't have been dirt. But the YouTuber was Dr. Ali, and he had did a video on it like a couple of months ago. I thought it was very interesting because a lot of people thought it was dirt. They thought it was maybe hair glue. Then somebody else, a lot of people thought it was the plastic, like a garbage bag or something. But it wasn't that. It was whatever was on those pipes. That's what was on her.
Okay, so when you say whatever was on those kites, you say kites?
The pipes. No, the pipes. P-I-P-E. You know how like the pipes run along the wall? Like, it was the wall right there to the left of where the door was open. The door was open, and that stuff was like all wrapped around. It was like full of it, like all on the pipes. Okay. So I don't know if it was some kind of, I don't know what it was, like some type, I don't think it was installation because of the way it looked, but whatever it was found on those the pipes that ran along the side of the cooler.
Okay, that's a good observation. To be totally honest, I think that is very good observation. And what we need to do is I need to possibly look at the video and see and do some more vetting myself. But before we move on to anything else, we have a couple of people that are in our live chat. And actually, we have one of the young ladies who did speak on it, retired from DC. Her name is Lulu Ohead. So when I was saying like some of the brown stuff looked like poop to me, I was like, oh my God, I felt like it to me. I did at first. I did think it was disrespectful, but you're right. Everyone has a bowel movement, and I guess it was just the word poop because I don't like that. But that's anybody. That's everybody. You know what I'm saying? You have your own, again, your own opinion. As I spoke last night, as far as that's concerned, I spoke last night and I was explaining that when it comes down to when it comes down to it, I try my best. You guys need to put somebody's phone is not on mute. You guys put the phone on mute because I can hear myself echoing. Thank you. So so the main thing is this. Nothing is disrespectful. Everybody has their own opinion. And that's one of the things that I have been saying the whole time is that everybody has their opinion. Anybody that can say or state what they're saying, back it up with something, a photo, back it up with some vetted information. I'm not going to believe what everybody is saying out here. I can look and I can watch, and then I go and I do my own research when I can. If I don't do my own research, I'm just going to follow what everybody is saying. And that's one of the things that me personally, I don't want to do. That is about why you learn how to do your research. Did anybody else have something they wanted to say about that? About doing research?
Well, yeah, I agree. That's why I said that was shown from his video. He had uploaded the file and he was going through it, and that's what he was showing to the audience. So that, you know, that supported his, what he was saying was that that's not dirt, it's not hair glue, and it's, you know, from the look of it, it didn't even look like it was, you know, of course not no plastic bag. The substance that was on her jeans and on the floor, that whatever that was the same stuff that was up there on those pipes. And I'll look back through the videos and I'll see if I can find out exactly what file he had uploaded to see that, to bring attention to that.
Okay. And so so we have a couple of people saying hello. I just want to kind of address them while we have time. And I want to say hello to Sabrina. Hi, Mommy. How are you? Thank you for joining in with us today. You know, we have 7881 Sweets. Thank you. I hope that you can hear us now. And Pussycat Family, I hope that you can hear as well. Queen Go Hard, thank you very much for coming in. I love you. You were here last night, and I know that you'll be a faithful person that will be watching as we, you know, continue to go. Tune in. Thank you, honey, because that is one of my diehard girls too. She actually comes in anytime. And the young ladies that you see on the panel tonight, they are diehard girls that are really working hard, being successful in what they do, as well as they were passionate about wanting to get more information on the Kenneka Jenkins case. So another person that spoke was Clyde Winfield, and he said, or he's Clyde's, it's called Clyde's Winfield. And he said about 3 days ago, he says, okay, Rosemont, we're not stupid. Y'all played yourselves. How can you take pics of Kenneka being deceased, but no pics or proof of her accidentally locking herself in the freezer? It doesn't add up. It's all staged. Y'all incriminated yourselves showing these pics that show someone clearly assaulted this poor child in the freezer and intentionally locked her in that little ass freezer. So someone came back and said to him under the replies, he said, that's not dirt underneath her fingers. That's form, that plastic bag. What are you talking about? Dirt. Then here go Clive, Joe Jenkins. Learn how to read. I never said anything about dirt, idiot. Get the F off my comment, troll. Bye. Now, after that, then Joe comes back and says, I know how to read that S you were saying. Didn't make any effing sense. That girl was murdered. You should be ashamed of yourself for even making those comments about her. What if that was your daughter? And then Clyde says, what? Are you dumb? Don't do drugs because I don't know what you're talking about. Don't text me anymore, troll. Bye. Now, with that, do you think that this controversy between between them two was sparked because it happened to this child and the person has a child of their own, or that he is really being defensive on the defense mode and saying that Rosemont is at fault for what happened to this child? Anybody want to answer that?
Well, I agree that Rosemont is at fault. I feel like they have deceived not only the mother and the family, but the public as well, because they basically ruled it an accident the day that they found her. They ruled it an accident before they even started the investigation. And if you notice, they stuck by that narrative until they closed it. I think people are angry because of of them deceiving the public with all those, the video surveillance. It was edited. You could see the edits. It was errors in some of the reports that they put up. So I think that their intent was to make people believe that it was an accident. She was by herself. Nobody did nothing to her, and that's it. That's all. And I think that they are very responsible. They are very responsible for what happened to her. Not so much the fact that she was discovered deceased, but as far as how they handled the case. Mm-hmm. and just being so pressed on, yes, it was an accident. Nobody did nothing to her, and they've stood by that for the longest, and that's what causes the uproar from the public, because everybody, people know something happened. I don't know what happened to her, but what I do know is that those files they uploaded were not raw. They were not 100% authentic, and for me, that's a problem for me. Mm-hmm. So I agree with what he said.
Okay. So with that being said, I have another person that actually spoke out, and this person was saying, yes, she was alive. That poor girl was suffering in that freezer. She was pretty much tortured up in there from the cold. But I have to disagree with you on the part that she was too intoxicated to find her way out. I believe someone locked her in there. If she walked in and out the men's bathroom twice without any problem, then I'm sure she could have done the same in the freezer. You claim you want justice for Kamika, but you believe that it was an accident. What kind of justice are you looking for?
That's a good statement. It makes sense. Because if you think about it, if it was really so much of an accident, the mother wouldn't have been she's still talking to this day about that missing camera. That whole case wouldn't have turned and went in the direction that it is in now. If it was clearly an accident, it wouldn't have been no editing of the footage. It wouldn't have been none of that. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if they had helped her, not only that helped her, but if they had provided the footage and the cameras and stuff that not only her, but her attorneys requested early in the beginning of the investigation, I feel like she probably, she would have accepted the fact that it was an accident, and then that would have been the end of it. it would have been an unfortunate accident, but they're saying one thing, but then you're not supplying evidence to support what you're saying. So that's where the deceiving and the lying comes in. And, you know, that's what keeps everybody just really upset about this whole case. So what she said is true.
Mm-hmm.
If you got somebody if you found somebody and you said you found them, they hung themselves. So the images are going to show that they hung themselves. It's going to show the rope around their neck and all that. You're not going to present evidence of the victim laying on the floor. You understand what I'm saying? You're not going to present that. You're going to present the pictures of the way you found them, not after you took the body down and here's the picture of them laying on the floor. But yeah, they committed suicide. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do. Now, with that being said, we have someone by Michelle Bradley. She's online with us and she's watching it. She says, I feel they never planned on doing an investigation. You have to investigate before you can rule an accidental. Pretty much she's saying accidental death. So
exactly.
my question to you is that with that being said, how long do you think it would actually take for a true investigation, a real serious investigation? I really think that it was a blotch job as well. I did some research on that. So before I go into what my details is about, I want to know what you feel about Michelle. She's watching right now and she's feeling that, you know, that they never planned on doing an investigation. How do you feel about that? Do you feel that, agree with her, or are you somewhat like, on the same level with her about this investigation?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with Michelle because I said that from the first day. When they discovered her, they said it appeared as though it was an accident, and then that's when I think it was a couple days later, Andrew Holmes stepped in on the scene and said the same thing, that she apparently lost her way and ended up walking into a freezer and she died there. And he did say that. So I felt that too. You know, how do you rule something out as an accident and then you don't even do a full and thorough investigation? And the investigation, it was botched and it was very sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like how Michelle feels. I feel like they never intended on really trying to find out what happened, because in my opinion, I feel like they already knew what happened to her. I feel like they knew what happened to her before. They knew things before they even allowed the mother to even come in there to view the body.
I think
so that to me spoke things to me as, okay, what are you all covering up? And the only reason they did go through with an investigation, even though it was sloppy, was because that's protocol and procedure for law enforcement. They have to do that. Mm-hmm. But it was very sloppy. It was half done. And from the beginning, they concluded it was an accident and they stuck to that until they closed the case. So it was a great injustice, not only to Kenneka Jenkins, but also to her mother. Mm-hmm. And that's what upsets me.
Okay.
So yes, I agree with her.
Okay. Well, there you go, Michelle. We got another person that actually listens to you and hears what you're saying and is trusting that, there's more to and at hand and agrees with what you're saying. So thank you so much for mentioning that. We have Queen Heart. She says, I believe they didn't plan on her being found or nobody would notice she was missing. Well, that part, I'm going to say this here. I believe that they didn't believe that she was going to she was going to go missing. I do believe that for some strange reason, I don't know why, but I do, even though I come to my conclusion, let me just tell y'all, I did come to a small conclusion based on the evidence that I saw. But again, there's still room, big enough room to investigate your own investigation, do your own due diligence and find out stuff. But when it came to her coming up missing, I think that, you know, I still hold her friends that were right there with her responsible for allowing this girl to just disappear. And I think that they saw her on those cameras, you know, at the time, but who's to say? Because me personally, one of the things that I want to do is I want to go back and I want to look at the footage of the managers and who was at the front desk. There should be a room that is on the files or the footages that was sent to everybody that requested it, or those who actually seen the footage that's on Rosemont website. There should be a footage of a file where they're sitting there watching behind the camera. So you know how when you sit in the camera room and you're watching all the cameras, there should be a camera sitting behind them watching them. If that's the case, because if that's the case, that would let us know that they were sitting there watching the cameras around the time that Kenneka had been wandering those halls. I really honestly believe that. So I just, for me, you know, there's just things that still don't add up. But again, I had came to my conclusion based on those photos. But now that I'm really starting to see all these different avenues and stuff, I need to do more research. It's not going to be based on what someone else is saying. It's going to be based on what I'm seeing. And if I know they always say, don't believe everything you see and only half of what you hear. Is that what they say? Or nothing, don't believe everything that you see, half of what you hear, and nothing what they say. That's what that's what my great grandmama used to say. So I don't know about y'all, but
that footage is in there. You know, I believe anything that's gonna incriminate or tie anybody to her in the same area is not listed on their website. I feel like everything they uploaded was to support the false narrative that she walked in that freezer by herself. Nobody was with her. And we know that when it comes to security surveillance team, that even in small establishments, their job is to look at all of the cameras to make sure people, not doing nothing they're supposed to be doing. And this is not just hotels, it's grocery stores, loss prevention, all those, that's their job. So, you can't sell me nobody could sell me the theory or the statement that, nobody saw her. Somebody saw her. She was seen. That's why they did all that editing, because other people were with her. So, and that's just a fact.
Okay, so with that being said, everything that Jessica is saying, do we have Sade online where she can go ahead and kind of talk about how she feels about this here?
Yes, I'm here. To piggyback right on what Michelle was talking about, when she stated that she didn't think that they planned on doing an investigation, I agree with her and Jessica, because when the mother first called the police to let the police know what was going on and that she was missing and stuff, for one, they didn't even need no spelling of first or last name. It's like they automatically knew what was going on. Then for two, they were trying to keep the mom at ease and telling her, oh, well, go back home, just chill out for a little bit or whatever. I'm sure she'll pop up, or maybe she went somewhere else. Like, kept trying to deter the mom from knowing that this girl is missing and dead.
Do you think that maybe instead of them trying to deter her mom from going, that he was just an undeveloped dispatcher, or possibly someone that didn't know, he was new on the job and didn't know how to respond to a situation like that?
If that was the case, then why is it that the manager and other employees, they called the police on Kenneka mom and her sister? They put them outside when they were inside because they were banging on doors and everything. So like, even if dispatcher is a new person and don't know what he's doing, then what's going on with the employees that work at the hotel? Why are they denying her rights?
Okay, I'm sorry. You're talking about when they're at the hotel.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much, I believe and trust in what you're saying on that part. Now that I have to agree on that. They, you know, just like we were talking about last night, they a person wrote on our page and said, if that was a child, an actual child that was missing, it would be a high alert. They wouldn't care about who they were exposing on footages and the whole 9 yards, but they was going to get something out to make sure they found that child. So with that being said, you know, I honestly believe that they felt that she's grown enough, she could get out there, she could do whatever she wanted to do. And at the same time, because the hotel is used to or known for high trafficking in there anyway, I'm wondering to myself that was there something going on and nobody did not want to be exposed, and that's the reason why all the footage is being edited. You know what I mean? It's just so much to go go on. But let me go ahead and look over here at our let me take another a comment that we have by John Q. He says they went through damage control to reduce their liability. All right, John Q. He said they went through damage control to reduce their liability. But guess what? They, even though they reduced their liability, I still believe that they are responsible for that girl's death, because if that place was under construction, that place should have been closed off and locked. Now all of a sudden, if you notice, if you went back and you look, now all of a sudden the place got locks all over the place. People can't get in and out. Okay, but why wasn't it in the beginning? Okay, regardless of how she walked around and did whatever else she was doing, why wasn't it like that? So if anything, Kanika's mama need to be suing them for wrongful death, negligence, and a little bit more. So for the whole 9 yards. So yes, we're gonna keep it moving, because yes, I really truly honestly believe it. And when I looked at that videotape, and this is the cold part. That's the reason why I have not got a chance to look at every single files, because there's so many files. But if you notice that some of the files is repeats, so you have to start deleting stuff. But this is the cold part about it. If you look at the files, they say, I even called. Do you hear me, sisters? I called the Viatech who makes the doggone video cameras. And I talked to the man and I was asking him, okay, why is it that you missing a whole lot of footage on, you know, on a certain camera or on 2 or 3 different cameras? I mean, can you tell me how you guys set up y'all cameras? And they said, well, you know, you can set them up on automatic, you know, motion censored lights or detected where people walk under them and boom, they're there. And then if not, what happens is that they'll just sit and cut off. And then when they come on, boom, it just seems like you just pop up there. Hell no. Sorry,
right?
But that's not going to give me everything. Now, I know that it is true because my sister is also a security guard. So I ask her questions too. And then I have friends that I work with and I ask them questions about the security, you know. But the fact is somebody made a major statement and I had to ask that question to them people, and them people agreed. And that was, I said, if there is one camera that goes out, there is an alert that goes to the company and say that camera number 1 or camera number 2 is out, because that brings liability to the hotel. You know, you could get in trouble for something not working at the time, but who's to say? It seemed like, you know, like I said, who's to say? It seemed like these cameras just disappeared and they reappear and they're not there. And like you said, you know, Miss Teresa was really truly adamant about that camera, but you know, Gray Hughes did a wonderful job with debunking, and he showed us that it wasn't a camera, and there was not only just Gray Hughes, but there was other people that also had said, hey, it's not a camera. Okay, well now I look at it, it's not a camera. It's not a camera that sits right above, but I don't know if she was pointing up there. Wasn't she pointing the opposite direction? And then Gray Hughes showed us, when he showed us, he showed us that it was pretty much like a water sprinkler. But
let me interrupt for 1 second, Angelique. when Andrew Holmes did that news press conference, he said that it was a camera that would have showed. I remember his words. He said it would have showed her walking in that freezer, and also would have showed who if somebody else was with her. And he can, but when he ended his comment saying that from what he saw. See, people got it mixed up. People that wasn't listening. He never said he saw her walk in the freezer himself. He said that what he saw was it appeared that she walked in there by herself, because he said that it was a camera. He said it was a camera in the area that should have picked up her, the path that she took. He did say that. And I believe that's the same camera that Teresa Martin was saying. But he said he did not. He said that he never said that he saw her walk in that freezer. He said that the path that she took, it appeared as though she walked in there by herself, because from what he was looking at, nobody else was on the footage with her. But the mother did state that it was a camera over there, and the sister did too. And they were pointing. They was pointing up there. And Teresa Martin even made a comment on her page about that. She said, when you look at the footage and you see me pointing, that's me pointing to the camera that they said that doesn't work. See, it wasn't working. Then it was no such camera. You see how the lights just kept going around and around like in a circle? So that supported the whole thing with them not being honest about that, the footage that would have showed who else was with her.
And so
I remember that. I remember when he said that, but go ahead.
So he never did say he actually saw her walk in. He said
he never said that. I looked at that video a couple of times, but you know how, people are emotional, they upset, and people only hear certain things. He never said that he saw her walk in that freezer by herself. He said the path that he said that he actually said he even went inside the freezer. He said he went inside the freezer. He said it made him feel uncomfortable because it was dark in there, yada, yada, yada. But he said that the path that she took, he said it appeared as though she walked in there by herself, and that he didn't see on the footage that he looked at, he didn't see nobody else with her. But he did say it was a camera in that area that should have picked up her walking there with if somebody else was with her. That's what she said. That's what he said. I remember that. But people hear certain things and they don't really listen. But I heard him say that. He never said she walked in that freezer by herself. He said it appeared as though she walked in there by herself from what he saw on the footage. And the whole uproar was that, how was it that he saw something and the family hadn't saw it yet? That's what blew that whole thing left. I remember that clearly. It was almost like he prematurely released information.
So Lulu says here, she said, boy, Lulu got it going on over there, retired DC. She says she is not stupid. She knows what a camera looks like. Then she breaks out and says she also said the light was on that camera. So if that was the case, if that light was on.
Yeah, she did say that. Yep, she said it was a red light.
Do you think that that's the same red camera? Because if you look at the photos and stuff, and you look at the actual footage, you think that's the same camera that she's talking about, the one that was right above when Tanika first walks into that door? Do you think that's the camera she was pointing at?
No, because when I looked at the footage, after they viewed the body, they turned around and walked towards the back where she had turned around where that office was at, that the little office is at, at the time, I don't think nobody knew it was a little office, but that when she turned that corner, when she walked the spot where nobody saw her at last, when that little arm came and grabbed her, the mother was standing back there, and I saw her pointing. She was pointing up towards the ceiling. I saw that part. And then you have to keep in mind that you know, all this took place, and then the files wasn't released to what, a month and a half later or something like that. So they had time to take down, you know, all kinds of stuff. They had time to take down whatever they want to take down to still hide whatever it is, the people that were involved, or the people, I won't say involved, but individuals that were in the same area as she was, that she was caught on camera. They had time to do all of that. But I believe her. She said that from day one. When she went on Dr. Oz show, she said that. When she did the interview with iHeartRadio, she said that. She has always said it was a camera right there that would have showed Kanika walking into that cooler. She always said that. And I believe it was a camera there. And they just, they took it down.
Okay.
Because if I'm not mistaken, Angelique, at first they told her that it wasn't working. And then they came back and said that it was no camera there. So, you know, you have to look at that. You understand what I'm saying? First it's not working, now ain't no camera. Which one is it? So that tells me there was a camera there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're just trying to convince me that at the time, I believe they was trying to convince her that because she was in a vulnerable state and had just saw her daughter deceased, that she was imagining things, like she's delusional when she's not, because you know what you see.
Exactly. Okay, so we have here I have another comment that was under the video by Ambience Phoenix. She says, Miss Martin had a private autopsy done. The conclusion was there was no drowning, no rape, no beating, no broken bones. She was drugged, though. I also agree she was alive in the freezer. She was trying to turn the doorknob instead of pushing it. And then someone else, then I repeated to her and says, thank you. Can you please send me the second autopsy or show me where it is? And then JD comes in and says the family hasn't released the results of the private autopsy. Did you hear anything about this private autopsy? Anybody else hear about the private autopsy?
Yes, I heard of, that it was a second autopsy done and that it was not going to be released to the public.
So
I've heard that several times.
How is it that some of the YouTubers that are here are claiming that they actually have either seen it or heard about it or spoke with Teresa about it? Because I haven't even heard Teresa even speak on it myself. Normally she would get on and say, hey, live, you know. Last time she was on doing Hey Live was, I think, for New Year's Eve. And she was kind of, you know, sad. You could tell that she was sad. You could tell she was angry, too. But one of the things that she did that made me kind of think, or caught my attention with my ears, excuse me. But what caught my attention was when she started talking about suicide. Don't commit suicide. It's an abomination. God don't like that. These are things that she was kind of, I'm just paraphrasing. I'm not doing a quote exactly what she said, but she did talk about suicide. And she talked about don't do it, you know, and it's an abomination. Well, you know, what do you think that she really was talking to our community, or talking to the community, or talking to the public about when she was mentioning that during her New Year's, you know, talk live?
Well, I want to address the first question that you had, which was, how is it that people are making comments about the private autopsy and this, that, and the other? Well, from what I saw was that the attorneys filed the motion to preserve all footage, evidence, so and so and so and so, and they filed a motion with the courts to preserve that. And on the paper at the very bottom, it also had that that she had an autopsy done through a private investigator, and it listed like 5 things that were conduit with the first autopsy by the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office. But the family, somebody from the family stated that the private autopsy would not be released to the public because they felt like, I guess from the first autopsy being released, it just caused too much of a disruption in the case, and they're actually trying to get the case back open. So But that does not mean that other things that were in that private autopsy, that doesn't mean that nothing else was in that private autopsy. That just means they listed things that were congruent with the first autopsy, but that doesn't mean that nothing else was in there. It just means that that's all that was listed on that paper. And but they did say that they were not going to release that to the public.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So with that being said, I think that that should be addressed, and I think that one of the reasons why they're not mentioning some more stuff, as like Lulu Ohed was saying. She was saying how some things she just can't mention or speak on it because, again, they could be trying to hold back what they do know to get the FBI's to reopen the case up.
Well, yeah, that makes sense because if you think about it, since the case has been public and, it's turned into quite a bit of a circus act from social media. I mean, it's kind of good and it's kind of bad because, you got the public help, but then you have a lot of trolls and you have people that have just really been ugly about this delicate situation that I agree they should not release any other information to the public because that would taint the case even more, especially if they're trying to get it reopened through another source. So it makes sense.
Okay. Are you still on with us, Sade?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Sade, do you feel that when it came down to them doing the actual not the autopsy, but when they first started off with the crime scene, do you feel that they did a good job in the beginning?
No, I think it was a very sloppy job and something real fast paced.
Mm-hmm. So do you remember any time that you or I or any of the the ladies that are on the panel, do you remember us discussing we did some research and we as I did the research, I pulled up about how to do a crime scene even though we're not professional EMTs and crime scene people, but it doesn't hurt to go and do your own research. Now, do you remember looking at some of the files and the footage, and it showed them they didn't even rope off anything?
Nope. Only thing I think we saw was they had on gloves. That was about the only thing. Right.
And not only that, if I'm not mistaken, when the manager walked in and came back out, who's to say that he did not contaminate the surroundings? But immediately after that, all these police officers just start walking all over the crime scene.
Yep.
And then they told her mother that she couldn't take a picture because it was a crime scene. But then it went from a crime scene at that time, it went from that to a death investigation.
Yep.
I noticed that. Yeah. Did y'all notice that though?
Yeah.
So
well, they had to. They didn't want to say it was a homicide because remember in the beginning they said it was accidental. So they had to say death investigation, meaning they're investigating the death of somebody. So that's how they did that. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, so why? My question is why would you say a death investigation, but then you tell the mother that she cannot take a photo of her daughter because it was a crime scene? That's two different. I'm wondering.
Well, it's contradictory.
See, they thought that the mother didn't know no better.
No, well, it's contradictory to what they're saying because if you're saying it was accidental, but then you're telling me I'm saying it's a crime scene. Well, we know what the word crime means. So it was contradictory what they were saying.
Oh, okay. So,
but they didn't say that both at the same time. In the beginning, I think they said that it was a crime, and then they changed it up. It wasn't like they told the mom, "Oh, well, this is a crime scene," or what was the other term that was used?
Death investigation.
Death investigation. They didn't tell her both of those at the same time. It was like in the beginning they said it was one thing, and then towards the end they changed it up.
Okay.
Yeah, because you know what? I kind of had high hopes when they used the term death investigation. I was thinking in my head, oh, okay, so, you know, they are looking at this as possibly it was a homicide, and maybe they are not, they have swayed away from this whole thing being accidental. That was my hope. I was like, you know, I was getting kind of excited, like, okay, yeah, now they,
Yep,
you
I
know,
did too.
and then the death investigation, that word kept popping up. You know, they never changed. And next thing you know, it was okay. Now the case is closed. It was ruled she died of hypothermia, which took them back to the word it was an accident. So they knew what they were doing. It was just the way they worded the way they used their words. They knew what they were doing.
I think so, because even when it comes down to being in the medical field, they also tell you to you know, when you do your assessment on your patients, or if there was an incident that happened, you have to be able to use your words wisely. So, like, I'll go in. We'll just say hypothetically, a situation where they cannot say the patient died at this particular position, or okay, no, let me rephrase that. I'm sorry, you guys. Let's take it that it was a patient that fell. Well, if you did not actually see that patient fall, you have to say, I found the patient on the floor in the position that they found the patient in. You can't say that the patient fell, because you don't know if the patient actually fell. The patient could have just sat on the floor. So these are some of the things that they have to do. So you're right. They have to choose their words very wisely, but sometimes they mess up, because as you guys were seeing, if they were looking at the police reports that was out there, they were making some, to me, I think they were making some major mistakes on here. Just like they were trying to quote, they were trying to black out all of the names that were on here. But pretty much, to me, they were still giving the names up, because you see how we were looking at some of the reports, and the reports, they were giving out names. You can pretty much know who they are. If you really look at the reports, you'll know which manager it was. You'll know the whole 9 yards. So let me just go over to John Q right quick, because John Q was sitting up here. He says, John Q says, where's the videos from September the 6th of the parking lot Teresa Martin's car was parked in? Somebody drove. It went up the line. Hold on, John Q. I'm getting to you. It says that somebody drove her car to the hotel on September the 6th. Now, I did hear that myself. So what I did was I placed an email to the private investigator who is on the case, and I asked for the footage. I wanted the footage for that day. He said that there is no footage that would be contained to Kanika Jenkins for that case. I was like, what the hell? Man, wait.
Oh yeah.
I'm basing the request based on the information that her mother says, that she found a ticket in her car from the 6th. Now, when was the hotel rented? It says that the hotel was rented on what, the 7th or the 6th? Because if you look at the reports, they also give up the days that the hotel was so-called rented. And if I'm not mistaken, it was rented on the 7th, but I'm not sure. So I can always go back. Again, we have a whole book right here, all these pages.
I thought I read that credit card was used to rent the room from the 6th through the 9th.
Yeah, it was.
It was. So
they tried to get it approved on the 6th,
but they could not get it approved. Am I right?
Right. Yep.
Okay. So, so that right there lets me know that there is more to it that meets the eye.
Absolutely.
So, Queen Heart says, by the photos, it looks like she had been dead for a while, not like she just passed a few hours ago. I believe that she had been, deceased for a while because rigor mortis had set in. And it doesn't take long for rigor mortis to set in, but they have stages. Rigor mortis has stages of how long. That's how they can so-called determine the time of death. They never did even give us the determine of the time of death. Did they do that in the autopsy?
No time of death was
No.
reported.
Nope.
Okay, but but what they did was is when you do an autopsy, normally they can tell you again about the time of death, you know, approximately the time of death. But on the actual report, they based it on when they called the doctor. Do you remember when we talked about that? They actually called the doctor, and the doctors gave permission to give the time of death at the time that they called the doctor. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
You remember that? So what I'm going to do is right now we're going to stray off for just 1 second. And I just want to, if just in case someone has not got a chance to read the report, but you know, there's over 100 pages, 135 pages worth of report. And so I want to just read report number 1 that was entered by a police officer on 9/9 at 2017 at 15:20. I want to go over that, just one, and I want you guys to kind of listen to it and tell me what you think. It says, on this date, I was dispatched to 9501 Devon Avenue, Rosemont Police Station, for a station report of a missing person. Upon arrival, I spoke with Lenora Harris, the complainant, who is the sister of the missing victim, Kanika Jenkins. According to the complaint, the victim was last seen leaving her home with her mother's vehicle on September the 8th at approximately 23:30. The victims was heading to a party with a couple of friends at the Crown Hotel, 5440 River Road, Rosemont, Illinois. The complainant states that the last time she had contact with the victim was via text message at approximately 1:30 hours on September the 9th. No contact has been made with the victim since. And then it says the complainant also states that the friends came back to the complainant's home approximately 0400 hours with the victim's mother's car. Those friends were not on scene at the time of this report. The complainant further says that according to the friends, as they were leaving the party at the Crown Hotel room 926, the victim realized she had left the keys and the cell phone. The victim then stood by the elevator on the 29th floor as her 2 friends went back to the room to retrieve the victim's belongings. When the victim's friends returned to the elevators, the victim was not at a location. Attempts were made by the victim's friends to locate the victim with negative results. The victim was last seen wearing a ripped jean jacket, jean pants, gray Jordan gym shoes. The victim was entered into leads as a missing person at 13:16 hours on September 2017. Also, a missing persons documentation form was signed and completed. The form was scanned into the electronic file. Then it says, I am able to speak with the general manager of the Crown Plaza, which I personally called myself, and I talked to who I needed to talk to find out all the general managers and their names and things like that over there. And one of them was Sherry Jacobson and Sheena Matthews or something like that. Now, it says the hotel security system consisted of dozens of cameras that contained hundreds of hours of footage throughout the hotel. Blank was unable to locate the victim through surveillance at the time. Blank also advised that the occupants of room 26 had already checked out and that the room service had already cleaned the room. Staff had no suspicious activities reported to any information available at this time. Later in the day, the manager of Crown Plaza contacted me with additional information regarding this case. According to, he received an anonymous phone call from a Commander Betty Green, unknown police department. According to this manager, the Commander Green was trying to get information regarding the missing persons case. The manager did not provide any information to the anonymous caller, but did in fact direct any questions that Rosemont Police. A contact phone number was provided. I was able to initiate contact with the anonymous caller, who was found to be concerned mother of the victim. that the victim's mother we were doing our best to try and locate her daughter. So he assured her that the victim's mother that he was trying to do their best to find the daughter. The complainant also stated that the listed contacts 3 and 4 were from out of town and were attending the party at some point in the evening. The complainant was not able to provide any further information of the victims listed with the friends and the contacts at this time. And it says a recent photo of the victim was taken before she was missing and provided by the complainant and loaded into the CIS. So with that being said, on this report, what stuck out to me was the fact that, again, they were stating that the time and the room, and they never stated anything in this part of the report that there had been calls to the hotel room. What can you say about that when they speak on the complaints, you know, going and getting information about the, oh, no, you know what? Let me ask you this question. This is what stuck out the most. It says that the complainants further said that according to the friends, they were leaving the party and the victim realized she left her keys. And the victim then stood at the elevator and 2 friends went back. Why would 2 friends go back? Why would one stay with their friend and the other one go back? What do you say about that? Somebody? I know you guys are on mute right now. So
well, you know, I that's what kind of, you know, disturbed me a little bit because, you know, you got a friend that's drunk and you just leave her somewhere by herself. Well, let me just be honest. Me personally, I feel like you lose people in amusement parks, museums, you know, malls, you know, places where it's like massive loads of people, you know, crowded. You know, I've got separated from a group of people before out in an outing from it being so crowded. So, you know, when the statement came out that, you know, the friend lost her in the hallway or whatever, it was the hallway, then it was the lobby, I don't know which one it was, but when she made the statement that she lost her, that kind of raised my eyebrow a little bit, because how do you lose someone in a hallway? Even if it's a few people in the hallway, how do you just lose somebody in the hallway? Mm-hmm. You know, so, you know, I kind of found that a little etchy for me. You understand what I'm saying? Now that's not to say that the friend did something to her or set her up, but I just feel like that wasn't 100% true. When I looked at it and thought about it, in my head, I'm thinking maybe they went somewhere together and she left her there to go back and do something. She came back, she was gone. And rather her just saying, well, I left her in such and such place. Instead, she just says, I lost her. I think she said, well, and when it first surfaced on the social media, she thought she was behind her. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, that all of that right there looks kind of, you know, crazy, which is why a lot of people are blaming the best friend for the death of Kanika Jenkins, because she was the last one with her and all of a sudden you lost her. You know, but as I said yesterday, I'm still kind of sympathetic to her, because that's something that she's gonna have to live with for the rest of her life. Is that I walked out the room with her, and next thing I know, 21 hours later, she was dead in a freezer. So that alone is something she's never. In other words, she is never gonna be able to live that down. Even if months from now they, you know, miraculously they find out the people that was responsible for the death of Kanika Jenkins, she still would never be able to live that down, because she took out that room. So, but I don't feel like she lost her. I personally, looking at it in a, you know, a bigger perspective, I believe they went somewhere and she left her somewhere. And when she came back, she had disappeared. That's what I believe.
Because why would 2, like you said, Angelique, why would both of them go for the keys and the phone and just leave Kanika right there by the elevator?
Well, nobody would do that. Nobody would do that with common sense. I mean, even friends that are drunk together, they hang on to one another.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, that just is not believable at all. It would have been better if she would have just came up with something else. You know, that's not believable at all. No, even drunken people hang on to each other. You know, if
Right.
she's stumbling and all this kind of stuff, people don't do stuff like that.
Right.
So even that whole, we went back to get the phones and keys and we left her out there. I don't even think that's 100% accurate either. I believe that was just something that they had to put together.
They were
I really
scared.
believe that I believe they went somewhere and they left her there.
Mhm.
Maybe not on purpose. Maybe, hey, I'll be right back. I'm finna go talk to this guy over here. She came back. She was gone. I mean, there's so many different scenarios with that. But that whole, we left her in the hallway to go get the keys. You left her by herself and we saw the state that she was in, which was drunk. Nobody would do that.
Mhm.
Nobody would do that. If that's your closest friend, you're not going to do that. So that's just my belief. And again, not saying that they did something to her, because I really don't think they did anything to her. I think they were really good friends, but I think it was just poor choices and poor decisions that led to the unfortunate death of of Kanika Jenkins. Not Kanika Jenkins, but the overall situation with the friend that walked out the room with her. And then they left her, or wherever they left her at. That was the poor choice and the bad decision. Because had they stayed with her and took her home, if they had all went home, then none of that would have happened.
Okay. Okay. Well, we got time for a couple of more questions, and then we're going to be closing off for this evening. But I wanted to go over one particular one. Queen Gohar. She said it could be possible that she went there the day before as well to party and returned the day she went missing to party again with friends. What do you think about that?
That could be possible.
It makes sense if they found the ticket in the car for the 6th.
Mhm.
And when was the actual party? When was it? On the 9th?
It was on the 8th.
On the 8th? Well, yeah, it's possible. I mean, why else would the mother's car have a ticket in there for the 6th?
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Because they could
possible
have went there to check out the hotel.
Yeah,
Maybe
they could have
check it
did
out
that.
and to see if that's where they wanted to have the party at. So that's the only reason I could think of.
So what about Kanika? I mean, Monifa's supposed to be actually working at the hotel. Was she really an employee there? Because I didn't see her name on the list as an employee.
Yeah, see, it was rumors going around that she had been working there through a temp service, but I don't know how accurate or true that is. The only person that I heard, I think on mouth, that said it did not work there was Irene, and that was in that video. But I have not heard Monifa state or have a rebuttal for that, so I don't know.
Yeah, John Q says because she was intercepted by somebody in the hallway, most likely a male. They probably told Shemaya and Monifa to go back to the room to get the keys and phone, and so they did. So in general, okay, let me just tell you, for me, John Q and the rest that are listening, thank you so much again for tuning in with us. But this is my thing. When I was growing up, I don't care. When I was 18, 19, sneaking, literally, I was 17 and I got into a club with one of my friends because, she was pretty much well known. She was a very well known person in San Francisco. And I went with her to the club. And, it was this well-known club, a little small hole in the wall club, but it was well-known where all the high rollers be going. They be gambling, playing dominoes and pool and all this other kind of stuff, just enjoying themselves. So I said, I want to go hang out. But you best believe that all of us who walked in there together, come to find out one of the girls, one of her sister-in-laws, she was the kind that liked to get drunk and want to go and start messing around. She's like, no. I don't care how much how much drinking you do. she straight up, excuse my language, was like, no, you're getting your ass in the car with us. You're going home with us. If dude want to take you with him, then what he needs to do is he need to come and call you tomorrow and you guys set up a dinner date. But for tonight, you bringing your ass home. We could not leave our group of girls who was together, no matter how many it was, no matter what we were doing. When we walked in there, we hung together. If somebody went to the bathroom, one of us went with her to the bathroom. It wasn't that she went to the bathroom by herself. And 9 times out of 10, if one person would get up to go to the bathroom, somebody else would say, you know what, I might as well go pee too, so I can come back and get my drunk on. You know, it's always going to be somebody in that group is going to go walking with you. And that's where I fault, you know, her friends of leaving her, letting her be there by herself. That's my only concern.
Yeah, because that's the girl code. I mean, you just don't do that. You just don't do it.
No, you don't. So with that,
and I don't believe they did that. That's why I said I believe that they all left out and went somewhere, and they obviously they separated. And in the report, an employee said that he saw the 3 girls in the hallway together, and I think the time was like after 2:00. But they blacked out the employee's name, but it was an employee because they said, you know, Crown Plaza staff member said he saw 3 girls in the hallway. And I don't know if it was the 9th floor or the 11th floor. It was one of those 2 floors. And that was all, that was the statement that they gave to Rosemont. And so, but that was all he said. But, you know, the confusing part is that Bree was the one that had the keys. She left, and then she came back and they was gone. And so in my head, I'm thinking, well, if she had the keys, then how is it that the other 2 girls came back in the room to get the keys when she never had the keys? Because remember, the other girl by the name of Bree supposed to have left. She was gone for quite a while. I think somebody showed on footage her leaving. She was in the parking lot or something. So the whole stories that they told are not consistent. It's not on the same page. So that's why I said I don't believe that they went to the elevator, which is right off the room, according to Irene in the video. And then Shamaya and Monifa left Kanika in the hallway by the elevator and went back and got the keys. I think that's just the story that they told to support the fact that they didn't know where she was at. You know, to say, well, we left her and she's gone.
I like how you said that, Jessica. Exactly. I really believe that they sat there and they let that girl go, whatever she was going to do, whatever they were going to do. And they literally claimed they lost her, and they had to come up with something to say to cover their trail.
Yeah, but like I said, you don't lose nobody in an empty hotel, especially in that time. Like, you don't lose nobody. What you can do is you can drop somebody off somewhere and leave them there and come back and they be gone. It would have been different if they would have said, well, we took her to the bathroom and, you know, she had to go pee, so I took her to the bathroom and I told her I'd be right back. I'm going to the room to get something. I came back to the bathroom, she was gone. That would have been more believable, but you don't say you left her and you went back in the room for 1 second, you came back, she was gone. You know, you don't lose people in hotels. You just don't do that. No, you don't. That's not believable to me. That's just something they had to come up with to explain why they weren't going home with her that night. Why one of them was missing.
Yeah. Sade, what you feel about that?
I agree with everything that Jessica was saying. It's all yeah, I agree with everything that she was saying.
And let me just say too, this is not me saying. Let me just say this too. 1 second. Just for people that's listening, that's not me saying that Monifa or Shamaya or Brianna or Irina, anybody did anything to her. That's just me saying that what I'm trying to state is that you don't lose somebody in a hotel from just taking them outside the room and coming back to get keys that supposedly somebody else had. You understand what I'm saying? But that's not me saying they did anything to her. That's saying that story that they put out is not even believable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear
right.
you. So,
because I mean, a lot of people got kids and stuff like that, and I mean, how many times do you hear that someone that lost their child? You rarely even hear that. And when you go to crowded events with lots of people and stuff, they even have little leashes they put for kids and stuff so they won't get lost. So how do you just all of a sudden just lose your friend? Like, you got kids that's yay high and you don't lose them, but come on now. It just don't make no sense.
Yes, yes. That it doesn't. And as you know, Queen Go Hard, she says back in the day, she agrees. She said back in the day, yes, people respected loyalty. Nowadays they don't do that though. And that's not just only in Chicago, that's anywhere. You know, we can't just always blame it on Chicago being the problem. Chicago is not just the problem, it's everywhere. You see it in everybody. I mean, you know, in all these states. Nowadays, you know, shoot, you go out and next, you know, you be looking up and be like, where your girl at? And be like, girl, she went and got in that car. One time, I can honestly say one time when my girlfriends and I were all going out, we went downtown and we went to this club. It was really nice, very elegant club. And there was a guy up in there and, you know, he was, you know, rapping to her in the whole 9 yards. And she said, well, I'm going to go ahead and go. I said, no, you can't go with him. And she said, well, no, what are you talking about? I'm grown. I said, no, because we all came together. I said, if that's the case, I need to see his driver's license. And I need to see his, I'm finna go outside and take the license plate to his car. And homeboy was like, damn, your sister over here, she, man, I don't think I was, he turned around and said, you know what, here go my number, give me a call tomorrow. He was like, give me a call tomorrow. Because I was serious. I really was serious. It was late night. The bar was about to close, you know, where we was, the club that we were at, you know, it was about to close. And she was like, well, I'm finna go. I said, no, I don't know him. And I don't know how much you know him. I don't care if you was spending the whole time with him, you know, because the whole time that we were there, she never left out of our sight. She just was having a conversation. They were sitting at the table and they were having a conversation while we were, you know, sitting up at the bar, enjoying ourselves. And she came back and said, well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go ride with him. He going to bring me home. I said, no, you left with us. You know, you need to come with us. We're going to take you home. And she was like, no, you know, I'm grown. I said, I understand, but you came with us and we all made an agreement that we was going to leave together. That was just a pact that I had since I was in the 12th grade. I don't care who it was. Just in the 12th grade, we'd be sitting up there smoking weed and stuff. You know, and that was one thing I can't honestly say when it came to smoking weed or doing whatever he was doing, drinking or whatever. We didn't go out and smoke weed and hang out like that. My mother and them was always saying, no, if you're going to smoke weed, I'd rather for you to sit at home and smoke your weed. And if y'all go out afterwards, I understand, but I'd really rather for y'all to be at home if y'all going to smoke weed. You know, my mother was very lenient with us. We were of age. You know what I'm saying? We were 18 years old. We were of age. We could do whatever we want to do. But the fact still remains is that at that particular time, I made him so nervous. The way I was talking is that he was like, you know what, here go my phone number. Give me a call tomorrow and we'll go out tomorrow. It's okay. I understand what your girl, you know, because your girl is like, you know, like, damn, she all up on you. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I don't care how he feel and what he feel. I just know that I'm being safe with my family and my friends because I take you as my sister. And especially me and my cousin, Tanya, when we used to do stuff together, she would not let me out of her sight. I don't care how much I tried to go and party or whatever. She was, her eyes was like this, all over the place. You think everybody else was watching? No, it was not happening. But believe it or not, you know, I'm glad I had a lenient family, you know, parents that understood. I can go to them and talk to them, whatever problems that I have. And that means that's the same with anybody and everybody that's watching tonight. If you know you have a problem, go to your family. Go to your parents. If your parents is not listening, go to a grandparent. If your parent, you don't have a grandparent, go to someone that can become your mentor, that can talk to you about drugs and alcohol and what can happen if you take too much or if you do too much. Go to somebody and tell your friends, if we go out, please do not let me go anywhere. Do not shake me. Don't allow me. It says, am I my brother's keeper? I teach my family that. I even teach my children that in the children's choir when I was there. I used to tell them, and my brother's keeper. And when I say it by that, I mean when we're singing, you don't leave the other person behind. That's why you sing in harmony. You sing in unity. You sing in unison. The bottom line is that you don't leave that other person. And when you get energy, you give that energy. You don't sit there and you have excuse my language, do stuff. You do it to the fullest advantage because you want to give that energy to the person who is leading the song, because the person that's leading the song better be able to pull her part. So when I say that, the fact is that even though Kanika had the car and she was leading the pack to the place, the bottom line is her team should have had her back. That is the bottom line to it all. She should have had her back, all of them. And that is where I leave off to say thank you, you guys, for tuning in today for another episode, our second episode of Forever True TV Debunking Comments. Do you guys want to say anything before we leave?
Nope.
Okay.
No, I think that sums everything up.
Okay. So with that said, we're going to be looking at some more debunking tomorrow. Stay tuned for another episode of Forever True TV tomorrow. We'll be debunking some more comments, and those that have any other suggestions or ideas or theories that they want to talk or discuss, feel free to email me. You can inbox me or email me at forevertruetv@gmail.com. I am so glad that you all came out. Please make sure that you like the comments. Like our video, share it, let everybody know that we are passionate about it. And before I leave, we always do one thing. First of all, we want to just give praises to God and thank God that we are safe and that our children are safe at this time. And we thank God and we plead the blood of Jesus over each and every one of us that was watching today. In the mighty name of Jesus, despite of what we do, God still loves us and he still will hear and listen to our prayers. So get on your knees tonight and say, thank you for allowing me to be alive. Thank you for allowing my children to still be here, because somebody's child is not here by either accident or by on purpose. So one of the things I want to say to each and every one of you guys, go in peace. Go in unity, keep your minds open, do your own research, understand that it is out there. You just got to know where to go and get it. So I love you guys. Again, may God have a blessing on each and every one of you. You guys, and good night. See you tomorrow. I love you.
All right, good night. Love you.